All right, Steve Pope, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm good, Billy. Thanks for having me on your podcast here.
This has been a long time coming. We've hooked up on Instagram. That sounded really bad, by the way. We would not hook up on Instagram. We ran into each other on Instagram. Let's say it that way.
Yeah, connected.
Yeah, connected. Thank you. Much better way of saying it. A long time ago, and we kind of talked about getting on an episode, and then, life just kind of happened. You've gotten busier with what you're doing, and I've gotten busier with what I'm doing, and then we have a mutual friend, Drew Gardner, thank you, and he just kept saying, you guys need to get together, and so here we are, finally.
Yeah.
I think it's been like 4 months since we started talking.
Yeah, I mean, with COVID, it feels forever, but thankfully with Drew, I coach with him.
Yeah.
And wonderful man, and he got us connected because he's one of my biggest pushers. Because he knows what I'm trying to do. So.
He is. He cracks me up. I really we went to high school together, and he was, I love it when I text him because he sends like 5 to 10 text messages back, and it's like I'm catching up with him, and I'm not sure I really have spent a lot of time with him in this time of year. But he sent a picture to me the other day where he's like, I think my TV's broken, and he was in his, I'm assuming this is like his basement or something at his house, and he's on the treadmill. The TV has like a black line down the middle of it, and he's trying to watch the Masters on it. so in the Masters, it's Masters week.
It is.
So have you watched any of the
I have
tournament?
Yesterday. Luckily, I just pulled 48 at the fire station.
Wow.
Because I got overtime.
Yeah.
COVID's kind of starting to hit us in
Yeah.
Kansas Fire Department, where a lot of people are having to work overtime
Yeah.
to cover these spots. So luckily, I was able to watch a good bit of it. So
Can you watch it at the station?
yeah,
I mean, okay.
Yeah, during our downtime, once we've got everything checked and ready to go for the public. So
yeah, I've got a buddy who's in the Kansas City, Missouri. Firefighter or fire department, Derek Schmidt. I'm not sure if I think he knows you through what you've been doing.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you know him, but
we have to try to get us connected then.
I know. I almost invited him to come down and sit with us because he could relate to maybe some of the things you're talking about. Maybe tell some other stories of how people are, and maybe talk a little bit who you are and what you're doing. You started this great cause this year in 2020, right? But it predates that a little bit. So talk a little bit about what you're doing.
All right. So I started my social media, if you want to call it a campaign, with YouTube and Instagram this year to bring awareness to PTS in the fire service, which is post-traumatic stress. A lot of people understand it as PTSD, but it can also be referred to as PTSI, which is an injury to the brain. Not a concussion, obviously, but firefighters do have concussions, and those don't help. I've had several of them.
Right.
Whether it's stuff falling on us from the ceiling. An injury to the brain is no different than an injury to the back, to the knee that firefighters, professional athletes deal with. You have to treat it.
Yeah.
So that's my goal moving forward, is trying to bring awareness to this is real. And if people follow me on Instagram, they'll see a lot of my talks that I share on Facebook as well. I call them the real PTS talks.
Yeah. Because
it just might be someone I came across on my job. We're telling each other stories, and I don't tell who they are, but I relate the story back in the real way that people might understand. For example, my family, my situation is I had trouble separating my job from my family life.
Yeah.
And I've come to find out that's a lot of first responders' problems, especially firefighters, that I can relate with better.
Yeah.
And so when I'd get home, house was a mess. There wasn't the structure like we have in the fire service, where you know what you're doing, you get it done, you follow orders. And I couldn't separate that for many years. Come to find out that's a real problem that a lot of people have. Wives have instant messaged me through Instagram or Facebook and said what you said, because what I refer to is my wife would say, they have to walk around on eggshells at the house.
Wow. I've never, it's interesting that you're, I don't know why this never equated to but that's crazy. I've never thought about how structured it would be at the station.
Right.
And then when you get home, how do you turn that off? Or how do you relate it to, like you're saying, to real life? And for me, my wife would say we have the opposite problem. I make the house a mess all the time,
Okay.
and she's trying to clean it up. And she's like, "Would you stop putting your stuff all over the place?" But that's crazy. So keep going. Sorry.
So that was
yeah.
I like hearing different stories because this is not only really that as this has gone forward, this is not about necessarily me trying to bring awareness to it with fire service. I'm seeing, especially with COVID now, that the stresses everyone has.
Yeah.
My wife's a teacher, so relating it back to my story with trying to separate the fire service structure when I get home, that, you know, these wives have contacted me and said, it's the same thing at my house. What can I do? And anyway, she being a teacher has her stresses that she brought home.
Yeah.
We butt heads like rams.
Well, yeah, it's hard. And I think that really probably, if I can guess, I would assume that really comes down to communicating, you know,
Exactly.
being very transparent on what each one is dealing with. I mean, I know my wife and I, before we got married, went through 2 years of marriage counseling, and it was amazing, you know, and it was, there were so many things that came up. First off, that I didn't know that I was suppressing, or that I didn't even know were an issue, you know, and this psychiatrist that we went to and stuff like that, just prodding's not the right word, but it was like the questions they just kept asking. And I was like, wow, I've never thought about that. I've never even thought about, is that affecting me? Is that impacting me? And then how do I say that to my wife so that she hears me and then understands what I might be going through, and vice versa, what they might be going through.
Exactly.
You know, I think that's really hard to do. So what are some of the things that maybe you've told these wives to do, or if you've told them anything?
Well,
or what has worked for you?
What has worked for me is, and the word I like to use, the phrases I like to use on my YouTube videos when I'm playing around the golf, videoing it, and then either at the end, beginning, or in the middle of it, I might just have something come to me that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
And the phrase I like to use is being self-aware of the stresses that are going through your mind. Because for me, I can feel it coming on now, and I can get tension in my jaw. That's me.
Yeah.
Maybe slight headaches, and I start to be aware that that's happening, and not let that affect my family life.
Yeah.
And so luckily my wife and she's, during this journey here since January, at first she was hesitant to believe what I was doing and was going through it. Maybe she didn't believe that it was real.
Right.
But as there's a video on my YouTube channel with the doctor from the War Horses for Veterans, and that's a wonderful place here in Stillwell, Kansas, that they help with first responders now as well. Besides veterans, they put them through a horsemanship program, where all you're doing, it's kind of like me with the golf. We're going to go play golf and decompress.
Yeah.
You go help train a horse, and you're decompressing. You're just away from it all.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, those things are still going to be there, your family struggles, but to be self-aware about that this is the problem is my goal. So not only helping families and relationships with your kids, your wife, loved ones, friends, it's about the severe part of PTSD is someone killing themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alcohol is a problem, I think, in first responder field.
Yeah. Substance abuse.
Substance abuse, correct. And then divorce rates are probably pretty high. I don't know the percentage, but I'm going to say more than 50%.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I don't think anyone listening,
I mean,
I'm not going to argue with you on that.
Well,
it has to be a problem.
That's society's norm, I think. So just imagine.
Well, you add these stressors. You add these stressors to someone's life that they, like for me, what I'm hearing and what I feel like is part of it is you're not sure. Like what came to my mind. Sorry, let me back up for a second. Is a lot of times the story that people tell themselves in their head that they're internalizing this debate that they're having of what I'm going through. Is this normal? It's not in the PTS aspect of it, but a lot of us have an inner monologue that that is severely geared towards, is this weird? Should I be accepting this? And I feel like you've started to understand that there's triggers might be the right word.
That's the correct word.
Yeah, to say that, okay, it's starting to happen, and you need to figure out how to make it not happen, or find a
coping mechanism.
Yeah, a coping mechanism, or in my mind, I'm thinking like a safe place, but that safe place doesn't mean like physically a safe place.
Right.
So, but I I think it's interesting if I can relate to maybe people who aren't in the first responders and stuff like that. Is for me, I went through very traumatic. It's as silly as it might sound, is a job that you were very, not harassed is the strong word to use, but not just challenged in a very negative way. You never felt like you did something correct.
Okay.
Like you did a great job. You executed something, and it's like, oh, you didn't think about this. What about the other 99 things that I did think about? We're fixating on the one thing that I didn't do instead of everything that was great. And when you do that for 4 or 5 years, it takes a toll on you, and you get into depression. Might be a strong word. And it, to me, through that whole process, I just kept thinking, is this normal? Do other people struggle with this? Am I wrong here? And I think that's where I see the challenge for some people is they're not talking to people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's crazy. So. And
I agree. I don't think depression is too strong of a word because, I'd say at times I felt it too. Yeah. And, we're not unique, first responders. You just mentioned your story there. Yeah. We all have stresses in life.
Yeah.
I understand more so first responders and fire service personnel, what we go through as far as the things we see and how it stacks up. It's called allostatic load is what I've learned. Mm-hmm. And it's just the piling up of that stresses from the job of things we've seen.
The cumulative.
There you go. Mm-hmm. And so it's you said it perfectly. I understand about how I can relate with my brothers and sisters from the fire service, and I'm trying to bring awareness to that. But not only now through this journey and COVID coming into play, mm-hmm. There's golfers out there that have different jobs than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to try to help them understand mm-hmm. what's going through their mind.
Yeah.
Because it can be healed. Like mm-hmm. I said, it's an injury of the brain.
Yeah.
In a different aspect. So moving forward, let me backstep the journey. Yeah. So I'm 49 years old. Been in the fire service for 24 years now. 26, 2 years volunteer.
And you're a captain.
I'm a captain now for 9 years. I was at Merriam Fire Department for 1 year, and that's where I did my volunteer work too. So 23 in Kansas City, Kansas, 9 as a captain.
Wow.
2017 is really when this journey started. Mm-hmm. So a good golfing buddy of mine, Ryan Johnson, plays with me. He went through our peer support program class. And one day at the course, I was just talking about how I just blown up at my son at home and I didn't know why.
For nothing.
Right, for nothing. Him mm-hmm. being a 5-year-old at the time. And it got me to thinking, mm-hmm. There's something real here. And so I started that journey. And then I thought how can I make this a better, better father, better mm-hmm. husband moving forward. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, I got to reach more people too.
Yeah, yeah. You saw that there was something that you could learn within yourself, which then equated to spreading awareness to other people.
Correct.
That's incredible.
And then I thought, being a high school golf coach at Piper High School, I thought, I'm always watching these YouTube videos to try to find something for that kid.
Right.
Because they're all different. The way they swing, they're all built different, mentally, physically. And then I come across all the YouTube golfers and lessons and whatnot. And then I thought, man, that's something I'd like to do.
Yeah.
I play golf all the time, 2 or 3 times a week with the fire schedule. I can do that. And so I started it. And then, like I said, I wanted to do something more. Mm-hmm. And it took me probably a month to get the Instagram account going. Everyone was saying, hey, do the Instagram. That's going to be your best push. And then lo and behold, it was because, look, we've
yes, yeah. Well, you do a good job of it, honestly. Like, you do a good job of it. It's not easy. I can relate to the fact that producing content, it's time consuming.
Yes.
I'm curious though, like, and you can tell me don't ask me that, but like, is this some of your coping mechanism is doing this?
I'd say it is.
That's cool. I didn't know if that's where this was going or not, but that's really awesome.
Well, that's what kept, because there was times I thought, man, do I really want to keep doing this? This is time consuming. This is like a job, but it's my coping mechanism. And especially when I get to the editing part, and I've had to learn that all on my own.
Yeah.
Here I am, a guy who honestly, I didn't think I had stress in my life.
Right. You thought I'm a normal dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can handle it. I can handle it. Tough guy, especially with firefighter mentality, if you want to call it that.
I'm supposed to be tough. I don't have emotions, Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
And lo and behold, this is how I noticed it was affecting me, luckily. I figured that out with the help of Ryan bringing it to my attention, because I never thought of that load over time, cumulative, like you mentioned, is how it can affect people.
You just implode at some point. You just kind of it all amounts into anything. It's interesting, I think is as much as we talk about this stuff, it's so weird that we as humans, and maybe men more than women, is struggling to just ask somebody to, or bounce idea of like, man, I came home the other day and I just was angry for nothing. And like if you ran that scenario by like your friend, like you did with Ryan,
right?
And maybe I would do that with my best friend or something like that. It's interesting how much you start to just like, okay, that was really dumb, or that person has, well, yeah, that can be infuriating. I can see why you would get upset, in normalizing it.
Right.
I think that helps with. Maybe for some people, a coping mechanism could just be talking about it, but it's hard to talk about it. I think that's where the struggle is.
Right. I don't think a lot of, especially men, like you said, want to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like I have been telling people about my struggles.
Yeah.
And through this, people have talked to me from my fire department. Mm-hmm. People have reached out to me outside of that as well, that's seen my videos, say, keep doing what you're doing. So that's what... Besides the coping, like we said, I think it's one of my coping mechanisms to do this, is to keep hearing from that outreach. That's what this is about. Yeah. So,
well, it's I mean, I think from, I've been doing the podcast since I think, holy cow, 2017, and I started in my car just recording myself talking.
Awesome.
and 15-minute episodes. And it is hard, and it's challenging to do the time with it all. But I think that's where it's really great what you are trying to do. And I think that people don't, maybe I shouldn't say this, not appreciate it, but I think if it's helping you cope and then it's helping you get awareness out there, it's a win-win.
Right.
For not just yourself, but that you can make a difference. And a lot of people struggle with not making a difference, but being okay with the status quo, maybe a little bit. But that's impressive. So talk about, go back a little bit of like, you're on YouTube. How do people find you on YouTube? It's Firefighter Golf, right?
Firefighter Golf, and
Instagram is
Firefighter_golf.
Golf, okay.
And then so the logo you see here on my shirt that no one else can see.
It'll be on YouTube.
Okay.
We'll put it up on YouTube. Okay. Yeah.
So that's me actually swinging the golf club in my fire gear. So I brainstorm with the golf ball behind it, and that's the Maltese cross, they call it, for the fire service. So that was my idea, with to try to an attention grabbing logo. And as you see a lot of other companies, Senior View here has the logo, and just trying to catch attention. And
it's a good logo. I love it. Yeah. I think it's great. It does. It's eye-catching. I think, especially on that white sweatshirt, it really pops.
I like that. Pops on this one. People have made that comment when I wear it in the fire station.
When I saw you at the front door, I was like, that's awesome. I love that.
So I'm just, if people want to buy merchandise, that's available. I have a link on my YouTube videos in the description. People can click it and go buy hats to support me, because if any money on my YouTube channel, when I get to the monetization point, is going to be used.
Talk about that.
Back into the mission, which is to finally be able to travel more and meet firefighters across the country, play golf with them, and share a story if they want on the YouTube channel. If not, I'll video myself playing golf at the course that we play at.
Yeah, and you've done that.
And I've done that down in Fort Worth. I just got back from 2 weeks ago. No, it was around October 20th, so it's longer now. But I met Chris, who we met through Instagram. Yeah. And good man. And we played golf. We shared a little story. But it's just about sharing golf, too. I'm trying to grow the game of golf, too. So my history in the game of golf, if we can go there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. Yeah. So we can go wherever we want to.
That's great. I love it. We can go off on different tangents.
Yes, we can.
It's almost like a fire station table in the morning. We're solving the world's problems.
Hey, if that's what let's do that. We're sitting here drinking our coffee, and yes.
Okay. So I worked at Lake Rivera Country Club for probably 6 to 7 summers.
Awesome.
This was probably 15 years ago now. But so I've always loved the game of golf and have taken it serious pretty much since then. So now for I'd say 20 years trying to get better.
Yeah. You're a 2 handicap.
2 handicap
Yep.
now. I've had it down to 0, but that's, where the skewing of the handicap system is. If I shoot even par a couple times, it throws me down.
Right.
And it's like, I shoot 3-4 over most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine went up this year. I'm a 5.
You're a
I was
5
like
now?
a 2-1 last year, and I just had a bad year.
But you play at a harder course than me, I think.
Sycamore's hard.
Yeah, especially it's the front 9 now, right?
Yeah, the front 9 is the old back 9.
Right.
And you can't lose a ball out there. I mean, if you miss the fairway or miss the rough by a little bit, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's not. There's no forgiveness out there.
So there. But I understand the business side of golf, working in that pro shop, and that was a great man to work with there. Tom Akmus I worked with him for a year before that, but before that was Tim Johnson, and then some other. You've worked in the field, assistant pros that I'm still follow on Instagram and stuff like that.
What'd you do? Work in the pro shop, or did
I worked in the pro shop,
Nice.
and then I do if they didn't have a cart kid, they'd call me. Hey, man, can you come in?
Come in.
Say, I'll come do it. But
I volunteered at Sycamore for a year and a half, and it was great. And then that's what I did. I pulled up carts, and it was fun.
it allows you to play golf.
It allows you to play golf.
So, but I did that, and then after that was done, because I started coaching baseball at Piper High School, because I grew up playing baseball, kind of just like Drew,
There is so many people that I've had on the podcast. It starts with baseball.
Yeah.
Clayton Casatorto, who's the GM at Swope Park. He came to Kansas for baseball. Justin Grabowski, Dr. Justin Grabowski, who's my chiropractor, he came on and talked about the body, played baseball.
And that's who you and Drew.
Yeah, Drew and I met through there. Drew plays baseball. He hasn't been on the show, and now you're on the show and you baseball.
Yeah.
There's something in the water here.
And then, so I budget cuts, because I think it was around 2008 when the downturn of the economy, the bubble hit.
Yeah.
And so they weren't going to pay as much with coaching. And it was hard to do my fire schedule with the baseball schedule. So that went by. And then this will be my 6th year with the high school boys at Piper.
Mm-hmm.
They were having trouble filling the position. And I heard that, they were having trouble. So I called the AD, and lo and behold,
Did you have to have any like, not training is the right word, but did you have to go through anything to become a coach at the high school?
No, it's just, recommendation of, you do an interview, but it's recommendation of, luckily I had that experience early there at the school and people knew me.
Right.
My wife teaches there, but there were still people there that knew me from when I coached baseball. So that helped get the golf job. But the baseball job was the head coach. I pplayed baseball with him growing up. So I still played in the men's leagues at that time in Kansas City over off Johnson Drive. And that was a great time. But, now that I've gotten older, my feet hurt. It's hard to run with plantar fasciitis. And so I have to play more golf because it doesn't hurt there. But so there's that side note, the golfing, coaching at the high school. And then the last 2 years I've been with the girls because they were having trouble filling that spot too. And it's harder to get my schedule right for the girls' schedule because we pick our vacation days here coming up.
Oh, for the whole year. That's right. Yeah.
The boys' schedule is pretty much made, whereas the girls' schedule is still up in limbo. Not because of COVID, but just time is so far ahead that. Whereas the boys now, though, same thing is it's COVID. They don't know what's happening, so there's not. Yeah,
because it's a spring league or springs. I guess it's in the spring,
right?
Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the schedule's not set right now because of COVID, whereas in the past it has been. So, but we work the schedule out fine, and people will work for me to go to tournaments, and I have an assistant now, so that helps.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So it's been trying to grow the game with these kids. That's my background, working at the country club, sharing the game of golf, and then in 2017, I won the Golf Channel Amateur Tour, the second flight, if you want to call it that. There's the championship guys, and then I won 4 to 8 handicaps because, as you know, tournament golf is a different beast. So even though I'm a 2 now, my handicap in tournaments fell within the 4 to 8.
Oh, yeah, because you have a different,
So it was the second flight, if you want to call it. And 4 days golf down at in Palm Springs where they do the A&A Classic where the women jump in the water.
Yep.
So that was one of the courses we used, and then 3 other nice courses down there. And so that was a great experience. And my hat's off to Michael Boring, who's he's one of the pros out at Shadow Glen. And I went and got a short game lesson like 2 weeks before the tournament, and it helped me.
That's amazing.
It's just
What'd you shoot? Do you remember what you shot?
I shot 14 over.
For 4 days.
For 4 days.
Let's be clear on that. People
14
will be
over
like,
for 4
14
days.
over in one round and he won? No, 4 days.
It's 4 days. I got 14 over for 4 days. So the last hole, I'm nervous as heck.
I
know I got a 3-stroke lead.
Yeah.
I know I got a 3-stroke lead over the guy in my group that was 2 behind going into the day.
Oh, wow.
And so the last hole has some water to the right, all along the right side. And we have to wait for this group in front of us for a ruling. And so we're sitting on the tee box for 15 minutes.
Right. There's nothing worse.
Yeah, there was nothing. We were all complaining about on the tee box.
Yeah.
And by that time, your back's starting to get tight.
Yeah.
I tried to stretch and get loose, and I topped it in the water.
Oh.
So the guy that's right there, 3 strokes behind me, I don't know what the groups in front of me are doing.
Right.
I could have looked it up on the internet, I guess, to see what the finishing scores were ahead of me. But
what year was this again?
this was 2017.
Okay, okay, all right.
And he hit his in the water to the right. Well, I used the club. I thought
should be laughing.
I could lay up, but I topped it in the water. So I said, I'm taking the driver. I'm just going to smash it.
Yeah.
So I smashed it, and I was over in these trees, but I was able to get it to the green.
Okay.
I took a triple bogey, and I won by 2 because he got a double bogey.
Oh, my gosh.
And then the other guy, one guy shot good. That was like 2 strokes ahead, 2 groups ahead of us, and I think I beat him by 4.
Holy cow.
But so that was a great experience through 4 days of grind of golf. And because in previous tournaments, I think my best was tied for 8th or something like that.
Okay.
So I've gotten better every year leading up to that. And I was finally able to use the short game to my advantage. And that's what I always work with the high school kids on is you guys are going to get bored with this, but this is what's going to make your scores come down.
Right. Oh, totally. You hit a green. Think about all the times that you've hit a green and then you 3-putt or something. Like that's the Baker coach was just on, he was talking about the same thing. He's like, the putting is so important because of that. And yeah, you can drop your strokes really quickly. But if you can't get on the green, that's the other thing. Like, I think that's the part of this part of just education in golf is like getting on the green is you need to get on the green, but if you can't putt, you got to focus on putting. So,
no, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of times the kids will get up there, boys and girls will get up there in 3 or 4, and then they're going to get 4 or 5 from there, right next to the green.
Yeah.
Because they skull it across, and then they're 4-putting or 3-putting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've never done that.
No, we haven't, but at least, I have them working on it for probably an hour at a time on days, and they get bored with it, but I try to make games out of it.
Yeah.
You remember what it was like playing in high school and
You do like a 7-up or not 7-up, a game of 7s where you try to play to 7 points. That's what we would do.
Okay.
And so the game goes, it's kind of match play basically, but it's really just points. So you have to hit it past the hole. Okay. And if you're closest to the hole and past it, you get a point. If you make it, you get 2 points. Okay. If someone makes it on top of you,
what's the distance you're putting from?
You pick.
Okay.
You pick each time.
Fine.
So
That's
you
fine.
start. So like you throw a couple balls. Whoever's playing, if there's 2 or 3 of you, you can play with.
I'll have to
3
try
people.
this one.
Yeah, it's a great game. And you throw them up, and whoever is closest to the hole, that's who starts.
Okay.
And the person who wins the next hole picks the next hole.
Okay.
So you just keep going until someone gets to 7 points. If you 3-putt, you get minus a point.
Okay.
If you leave it short, you get no points.
Okay. I like
so
that. Had no chance going the hole. So.
Yeah. So the on top of thing is to prevent people from picking this little 4-foot putt to make it. So if you and I are playing, I go first and I pick like a 10-foot putt and I make it, I would get 2 points. If you step up and go, you get 4 if you make it.
Because you topped them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I like that.
And so it's a good game. And so it can go quick. Like so that's the thing is like it can help with lag putting is the big thing. The past the hole is the big point of getting it past. So 0 points if you leave it short. If you get past it, it's 1 point. 2 if you make it. I don't think 3 is anything. And then you can't go over 7 points.
Oh, okay.
That's the other part of it.
Oh, wow.
If you go over, you go back to 0.
I'm going to have to contact you during the boys season in March and say, okay, text me these rules.
Yeah. There you go. That's awesome. Yeah. Have you found with coaching the girls and the boys, has it helped your game?
It has, because, I'll go out there and play with them.
Yeah.
And one reason I want them to see what a better golfer, how they play, maybe they'll adopt what I'm doing without me telling them. Mm-hmm. I know my 8-year-old son, when he comes out and watches or plays with me and my friends, and it just happened last week, he was playing with us. Because
you can see him swing if you go to the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
He's on a lot
he's
of
on
videos.
a couple
He's
of
great.
them.
Yeah.
But he'll be to the side mimicking either my buddy Ryan or Brian or
Yeah.
me. And Ryan brought it up to my attention the other day. He goes, he's just back there mimicking what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I never try to teach him because I want him to enjoy the game. I don't want him to be frustrated by it.
Yeah.
But he wants to learn himself. So my point about bringing that up is the fact that I like to go out and play with those kids so they can pick up different the way the better players do things. Because I know when I play with better players, I pick up on what they do
Absolutely.
to try to improve.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think my game, especially doing all the short game stuff with the kids, that's where my game's improved. Besides the lesson that I got from Boring out there at Shadow Glen, so it has helped in that regard. But also, it's joy to my heart to try to help.
Yeah, to grow the game.
To grow the game with these kids and just have fun with them.
Yeah.
So if I can, some guy's backyard. You've heard of those?
Yes. Yeah.
So I took the girls over there.
I saw that. And we were like exchanging Instagram messages when you were out there.
Right,
yes,
right.
Yeah.
So the history with that course is Zach Bruff, him and his buddies built that course. His dad worked with me at Station 7 in Kansas City, Kansas Fire Department for several years. His dad's now since deceased from cancer.
Gotcha.
I miss him. His name's Doug. Mm-hmm. So Zach ended up buying the property from his mother. And his buddies, who he was friends with at college, built the course.
That's what I watched the video that you did.
So you've seen that.
Yeah.
But that's the little history for people that don't know it, that you can become a member at this course. It's free. Just go to their website and sign up, and then you can contact them. If they're there, they'll let you come out and play for free.
That's amazing.
They want to try to grow the game as well. And so I took the girls out there to do something different than just the daily grind at practice.
I love it.
And they loved it.
Yeah.
And they wanted to go back. So I'm going to try to make it a yearly thing with the high school boys this spring.
Yeah.
Going to take them out there and then the girls again, and something different than just driving range and the short game practice. Well, they get the short game practice out there because the longest hole is like 130 if you stretch it back. So
that's awesome. Yeah, some of my favorite golf courses are the ones that are just so unique. And by unique, I mean like Paynes Valley is great. I've never been there, but it's unique of that. But I just mean more like there's a course in Evanston, Illinois, which is north of Chicago.
Okay.
It was right by the L, and it felt like you were playing through people's backyards, like you're like teeing off. The L is literally right above you. It was like an executive 18 holes. I think it was only like a par 62 or 64 or something like that. I don't even think there were any par fives on it, but it was just through this little neighborhood. I mean, I call it a neighborhood. It was just this Evanston really was what it was. I do not remember the name of the course, but it was so much fun. And it was like $5 to go play it.
Wow.
Would
you just put it in a box or something?
No, there was like a little building there. I mean, you couldn't really go inside. It was more like a starter shack is what it was. Okay. And there was somebody in there. I mean, they took tee times.
Wow.
And so, awesome. I mean, so I don't think it wasn't on your honor like a lot of the disc golf courses are and stuff like that. You put a little dollars or what in there. But it was fun. And I think they were even on like Golf Now and stuff like you could book tee times, but
how many holes was it?
It was 18. It was 18, and it just was like it just was. I wish I knew the history of it. I need to look it up, and that's something. But it was probably one of those things that somebody created like a little 9 holes, and then they're like, well, we could create 9 more and put it through here because it was just it was literally along the. There's not a river but a creek that runs along. So it was like you would jump over this creek a lot.
How close was the L to the golf course?
I'm not kidding you. It was right above like the first hole.
So I'm sure people tried to ping the trains.
Yes. And people's houses too. That's, I mean, it was you didn't have to hit driver on it. You never, you'd probably hit like a 5-iron off of every tee and you'd be fine. So it was to your point you're saying about your short game, it was really fun to go work on some long iron shots or work on controlling and playing just a little bit different style instead of just getting up there and hitting it as far as you can. That's interesting about it's Bruff. That's right. Okay. It's Bruff Creek National, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I watched that video that you did. That was really fun and Is that Zach in the video?
Zach's in the video,
Okay.
the Doug's son. And so I was able to share some stories with him that he hadn't heard, from his, dad's days at the fire station with me and all the shenanigans that go on. So
yeah, we need to get them on the podcast. I think that would be a fun. I've followed it on Instagram and then their website a lot since they started doing it, because it wasn't too long ago that they started it. I thought it was interesting that I didn't realize that it was his buddies that wanted to build the course. That was new to me.
Ben is the big architect type aficionado, if you want to call it that. And he's working with No Laying Up right now, if you've heard of them.
I have, yes.
And they've just put out wonderful work. I mean, all their videos are wonderful, but Ben's part of them now.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I think Evan, who is part of Some Guy's Backyard, is also doing some things from my last talk with them, because I just took the GM Golf boys over there, connected them together, but they did a video for their YouTube channel besides the one I was on with the firefighter suits and everything. So, but back to No Laying Up and Ben, they went out to Abandoned Dunes.
Yes.
And the latest videos they've put out are amazing.
Yeah, I haven't watched them yet, but someone else sent them to me and said these are great. So it's the tourist sauce.
Tourist sauce.
Yeah.
And they just put out some amazing stuff. And
yeah, they do. It's gosh, what a dream it would be to follow in their footsteps with their podcasts and stuff. But
I agree. And, I try to look at different YouTube vloggers channels to get ideas for myself, as far as not taking their ideas and what the matches to do, because mine's about telling a story, playing golf, sharing a golf course, showcasing a golf course, and talking about PTS. Yeah. And then, like I mentioned earlier, about getting together with firefighters across the country. But I'm going to Abandoned Dunes next July.
Oh, you are?
You ought to come out here and do the podcast out there.
I would love to.
And play some golf.
Let me talk to my wife. Yes, that's where that has to happen.
Yeah. But that's a journey to get there, so I'm looking forward to it. There's 5 of us going that are firefighters, me and 4 others. And then 3 of my buddies, one of them being the Tonganoxie head golf coach. Okay. Doug, he works at Falcon Lakes too in the pro shop when he's a teacher in Tongi. But so I'm excited about the group going, and I'm always trying to recruit more. Like I just mentioned it to you, I just invited a firefighter from the Fayetteville, Arkansas area, and just to tell a story about what this has done as far as the outreach. He saw what I was doing, because he went to school when I put out the Tiger Woods Paynes Valley video. Yeah. He saw it.
That was about how did you talk a little bit? Sorry, before you get into this story, talk a little bit about or maybe tell the story, but let's come back to how you got into that Payne Valley video. Yeah, sorry.
So Brian's his name, and he works in a fire department right near Fayetteville, Arkansas. Is the best way to describe it. Yeah, is the way he described it to me.
Northern Arkansas.
Yeah, and so he's not far from Branson. Yeah, and
Bella Vista is down there. There's a lot of golf courses.
We talked about that when we talked on the phone the first time. So what's amazing about him is our first conversation was just like we were long lost brothers, because he was asking me, "What are you exactly?"
Isn't that how you feel about this conversation?
Oh, this is great too, though. I mean, because ironically, before we started the podcast, the things we shared
were crazy.
With Drew and just the other people that we know together, and the connections, and that's what this is about: is connections, outreach, to help me grow this mission as fast as I can.
And that's why I wanted to get you on the show, because for that reason, if I hope people enjoy listening to this, which they will, but I think that, we're here to help you in any way.
I appreciate it.
If there's anything you ever want to talk about, we can always do future episodes again. So don't hesitate to ask.
Well, as this grows, definitely this will be a good relationship. So, but Brian asked me, what are you doing exactly? Because he wanted to start something down there. Not necessarily a YouTube channel, but just some type of way for them to decompress using golf. Yeah. And so we just had a good conversation about that. He was just curious about what I was doing. And they had a firefighter kill themselves like a year and a half ago. We had somebody, don't know if it was PTSD issues, but we can do the same thing. So Bob Logan's his name, God bless him, and he was a good fireman, good medic. So I just want to put that out there for him. So that's the outreach. That's the connection that this has brought. And
people are struggling. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, people are struggling with this more than I think we care to admit as a nation, as a society. And so what you're doing is incredible. Right. I mean, there's no other word for it. I think the struggle is, how do you get more connections? And how do you get more, people to become aware of this? How do we start the conversation, not just here in Kansas City? How do we start it across the whole nation to be front and center?
Well, it's funny you say that, because I know for me, doing the video with GM Golf helped me spread the awareness a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I went from 300 subscribers on YouTube to like 760 some right now.
You're almost at 800 now. I checked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So what that did was what I knew that it would do playing with them, the connections that you can get through social media. So if I could, there was like 24 maybe firefighters that reached out to me that watched their videos and said, hey, if you're ever down in South Florida, if you're ever in North Carolina, if you're ever in West Virginia, let's play some golf.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, there's golfers that aren't firefighters or police that this might help.
Yeah.
Because they have stresses in their jobs, in their life, might not have a job because of COVID. Let's help people. So back to, I've never heard this yet from anybody except one person made a comment on GM Golf's video, said they're not unique. Okay, I get it. We chose to do this job.
Right.
But guess what? There's people that are going to have to do it, like myself.
Yeah.
So let's get them help.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what this is about.
Yeah.
So moving forward, we talked about before the podcast started, Andy Fisher, Kansas City Country Club, saw what I was doing on. Here's the funny story of a connection.
Yeah.
He went over to some guy's backyard, who I'm good friends with Zach.
Yeah.
Got a hole in one. First hole in one out there. I did the little clap on Instagram.
Yeah.
He saw it.
Oh my god.
Saw what he has seen what I'm doing.
Yeah.
They already have a blueprint in place for military.
Oh my god.
For what they do with the outreach program called PGA Hope. Andy and I met for lunch. Just like we're doing, he's hearing my story.
Yeah.
And I'm starting a nonprofit called First Responder Golf Foundation.
Oh, wow.
Where we can bring money in. Because the military side of it, they have clinics. They have little golf outings of end-of-year thing where they have like a little tournament or whatever. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm trying to get this foundation started. I'm getting ready to apply for the IRS approval of it.
Right.
And so that's our plan moving forward, is to have that in place to do the same thing for first responders.
Gotcha.
Firefighter Golf is still going to be my YouTube business channel.
Yeah.
Still going to do my thing there. This is going to be in the Midwest section of the PGA of America.
Wow.
And starting out. So when you talked just maybe a few minutes ago about getting this across the country,
there it is.
My hope is that with the help of the PGA of America, we can get this further.
Yeah.
Back to the GM Golf guys. I want their growth to help me immensely.
Yeah.
To get the word out to a couple dozen firefighters. With this, what's crazy about it is I want it to get it growing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know there's people out there struggling that haven't heard the message or understand what's going through their mind. So I know it's a marathon.
Yeah.
It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
I get that. But through connections like doing something with you and any other connections I have moving forward, this will get out there. I get that. It's just going to take some time.
I think, and I think, that cumulative stress that we talked about at the beginning of this.
Right.
I think what will end up happening is, you said half a dozen firefighters or a dozen firefighters contacted you after that. That will compound. They're going to start telling more people about this. So it's really just for me, what I've learned is that you can't stop. You got to keep going.
Right.
And you've come this far. You're clearly getting the attention of people with your firefighter golf. And now you're starting this non-for-profit. You've got momentum going. You can't stop. And then it will evolve into something bigger. Like you talk about the tournaments and stuff like that. And, we're here to support. I'm here personally to help with any of that. If you need additional support or anything like that, or to bounce an idea off of, or just to come to meetings or whatever, happy to help with any of that stuff. I mean, I can see with some of my friends who are firefighters, I've seen it firsthand, and I think the thing that I think it goes back to the communication of they don't know how to say, they don't know how to approach being vulnerable and saying that they don't feel it. To me, it starts with, they don't have to go to the extreme of saying something's wrong with me. It's just talking. Right. It's just talking about maybe their day, how their day went. I don't know. I'm clearly not an expert. I'm not this, but to me,
Billy, it's about being real. It is. And that's what I found the most important part.
Well, it helps me and just anybody is to decompress, and decompressing is talking about it,
right,
and getting it out. And it can be as simple as, you know, how my day was today,
right,
I got up, I came down here, I should go home and I should tell my wife about this experience,
right,
and she will be thrilled to death about it. And I'll say, man, it was so great to meet Steve. He talked about he's got all this momentum to do all these great things. That's all positive. Well, then you have to take the opposite side of it when you have those struggles. And you have to be able to have that same conversation, because your family, you're tight-knit. I've always, my father-in-law is a pastor, or he's retired now, but he always talked about that in life, you have about an inch, a square Post-it note that's an inch by an inch, and all the names that you can write on there are the only people in your life that truly care and will help. I know you're making something bigger than this, but when you're in a need, and I guess I'm trying to preach to people or say if you're struggling with something, turn to the people who are closest to you.
Right.
And they will listen. And why that's so hard for us as men and humans.
You said it perfectly, because what I was doing, and I feel a lot of people will do at times, especially in the fire service, is they hurt the ones they love, or they don't seek what you just talked about.
Yes.
And that's what I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. We all do it.
We all do it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. But there's something that has happened to somebody that they don't understand why they're doing it.
Exactly.
And that's what they have to get from out of this, is to understand, or what you're trying to do.
Right.
Is it's okay, but there's help. Like you said, I think the thing that I keep going back to is it's an injury to the brain, and it can be fixed.
Yes.
It's the first part of anything is acknowledging that there's something wrong. If you're struggling to a physical problem, my leg hurts, you don't continue to use your leg in a way that makes it hurt. You ice it, you compress it, you rest it, you do all those things.
You treat it.
Yes, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. And then, you recognize you do have that injury still a little bit in your back. So just like you do in your brain, you can understand, okay, I feel something coming on.
Yeah.
I'm going to not react the way that I normally did in the past.
Right.
So you mentioned chiropractor.
Mm-hmm.
I have he's a captain now, used to be my driver, but his sister's my chiropractor.
Yeah.
His dad was a firefighter for many years on the job, 30 plus, was a chief, retired as a chief. And I went to her last week, and we're going to do a video for my YouTube channel and explain how chiropractor work helps with PTSD, as well as acupuncture. And she's talked about some stress trigger points without acupuncture that we can use. So we're going to do a video with that. But what she shared with me, her dad would come home onto the part of the structure, would come home, and she was a teenager at the time, and the way he would get on her, and she goes, that wasn't going to work with a teenage daughter.
Right.
And that, wow.
Yeah.
Just having that conversation. Then we got to talking and thought, let's do a video to get people help.
Yeah.
One, gives her attention, brings her some business.
Yeah.
And the main thing is the outreach, get people help.
Yes.
If they want to seek her.
They might learn a little something.
Exactly.
Of how they can do maybe a little tip or trick. And I want to make it clear. I feel like I made it sound, I oversimplified the problem. I feel like I want to make sure. I just think I kept saying, I feel like I want to make sure it's we've all been there. Not everyone has been to the level that I think the PTS stuff. I mean, but I think we can all relate a little bit to it.
Right.
I don't want to make it sound like I'm oversimplifying anything.
I didn't feel that way.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I got a little worried. But it's interesting. Do you feel like in the matches that you've gone out and played with some of these firefighters across,
I've only had the one.
Well, down in Dallas and stuff like that. Do you feel like, let's talk about that. Was it helpful? Do you feel like it was helpful for the person that you played golf with?
Well,
remind me of his name. I'm sorry.
Chris Ballard is his name.
Yeah, that's right.
53 Golf is his Instagram, and he's a Ben Hogan rep. So he pushes. He likes the Ben Hogan stuff.
It's my first set of irons for Ben Hogan.
Cool. See, look at the weird connection.
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, right. So we had talks before, whether it's over the phone or through just text messages and Instagram, like we communicated with ourselves. He really doesn't have the stresses, but what he talked about was, and there's a lot of firefighters that can relate to this, is, and you might be able to relate to it, everyone, your coworkers. There might be a station that you don't want to work with somebody, and that causes a little bit more stress besides what the job does itself. Because
it's not like you go to, well, I could be wrong, you might be going to the same station every day, but that's not the case with a lot of these firefighters. They
Right.
jump from station to station. So Kansas City, Kansas, for you, it's the Fire Department of Kansas City, Kansas. Well, there's multiple stations across Kansas City, Kansas.
Right.
So that's what I didn't realize that. And then the hospitals, they might work at hospitals and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Right. So he didn't necessarily have a lot of PTS problems, but that video will be coming out next week on YouTube.
Okay.
And I talk about it in the introduction part of the video about that's what this is about. It's playing golf, because I didn't feel any stress out there playing golf with him.
Yeah.
And as you know, golf's a stressful sport.
That's where I was kind of going with this. Yeah.
But I don't feel stress out there no matter how I'm playing anymore.
Yeah.
My stress years ago, what it was causing me on the golf course was to, even though I enjoyed it when I was out there, to not really enjoy it.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because I'll tell on myself, I'm vulnerable.
Yeah.
I can't even say that word sometimes.
Vulnerable. Yeah.
Vulnerable now.
Yeah.
I would throw my clubs.
Yeah.
Cuss.
Yep.
And once I got that little out of there, I would, I'm fine. I re-engaged with my friends that I'm playing with and played.
Yeah.
Was I happy about it? No. But
it was a release.
It was a release, but now I don't do it hardly at all.
Yeah.
Because of my awareness now.
Yeah.
And he didn't necessarily have that, but I shared that in the video that I don't feel any stress today. And he just got off work after working a code, and they brought someone back. And that's one of the greatest feelings when we're out there.
Yeah.
The worst part is when you can't bring somebody back and the family's sitting there.
Yeah. You got to have that.
What I shared in one of my videos is, now that I'm a captain, I deal with that side of it now.
Yeah.
Whereas the crew that's working the code, they see it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
They're busy work. And it does affect them too.
Yeah.
But I'm emotionally dealing with the family, telling them what we're doing. Here's what's going to happen if we can't bring them back.
Yeah.
And that's a different side.
Oh my gosh.
And so 9 years I've been a captain, married for almost 11 now. So the combination of married so late in my life, set in my ways, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then me being a captain with overlooking a crew, being in charge of a crew, the stress is just boom. And then my wife being a teacher, she has stresses, especially now with COVID. So I'm glad this is going on, because it's a different animal right now with these teachers.
Yeah.
And so God bless them for what they're doing. It's
100%.
It's amazing. I
think there are people who are struggling through this, and I think the people who acknowledge that this is really hard come out better for it.
Right.
Like I think, for me, I'm not ashamed to say this. My wife and I have had some epic fights this year over nothing, of just stupid stuff. And I think, it's brought us closer. We've talked about things. We've shared more. Are we perfect at it? Heck no. No one is. But I believe, unfortunately, I think there's going to be people who don't make it through this. And marriages.
Right.
I think that sucks. But I think the ones that do survive through this and understand, how stressful this is on each other.
Right.
For my wife, the first 3 months that I was at home, we went home in early March from the where we're at today in the office. And, it didn't really impact me. And then all of a sudden it was like, what's going on? I just didn't feel right. And my wife goes, we need to designate an area for you to have a workspace.
Okay.
And her saying it, I was working in the dining room. I was working in the basement. I was working in the bedroom. I was just moving all over the place and just, let's see if this makes me more productive over here or this, and she goes, you need to set up an area. You need to have an office. And when that happened, it did two things. It did create a place where it was like going to work again, but then it was like, she supported me in all this.
Right.
She was like,
that's important.
And that was the better part of it was she was, this was her saying this, not, I didn't go to her and go like, I think I need to have an office area. No, it was all for her. She realized it. And it was her also, she had to become accepting of it that I was going to be at home all the time, which was hard. Everyone's world got flipped upside down of you left that, you're spending 8 hours at your house or whatnot, or 12 hours at your house 8 of them sleeping majority of the time, and
Right.
then you're driving to work. Well, then you reverse that. You're always there. You don't realize the amount of mess and destruction you cause of how much, at least I didn't. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't pick up my lunch again. I didn't, why I left that cup over there, and you just don't realize. But the stress that can cause people is crazy. It's interesting what people, but communication again is the key thing there. With you talked about the stress. You didn't feel any stress on that. Is it able, when you're doing this, or is your goal, let me say it this way, is your goal to maybe relate what someone might be going through with PTS to playing golf? Of like, are there similarities? Is it the challenges of golf of, you can't really be high, you can't really be low, emotionally high and emotionally low, kind of have to be even keel to make us through this. Is that relatable at all?
I think it's relatable, and here's the reason why. So one reason I think that helped me win that tournament was the talk with Ryan.
Yeah.
I went and saw my family doctor, and he put me on Paxil.
Mm-hmm.
That made me even.
Yeah.
It causes other side effects that I didn't like. So but I was on it for that tournament, and I never felt nervous or stressed.
Interesting.
So that's the feeling I want to try to do on my own.
Yeah.
So I don't take the Paxil because I didn't like the side effects.
Yeah.
And overcoming that mentally was the growth from 2017 to 2020 when I started this social media mission, if you want to call it that, starting with YouTube, like I mentioned, and then getting into Instagram. And that's been the biggest push for me to get contacts.
Yeah.
Really. There was a pro that reached out to me just across the Hudson River from New York and New Jersey. And he said, if you're ever up here and need help, he sent me a picture of his golf bag with his dad's FDNY number on it. His, I'm like 575 in Kansas City, Kansas. So his dad was whatever. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But that was amazing.
Yeah. That is amazing.
And so the connections, the tightness, he had that connection. So also moving forward, I mentioned to you about the chiropractors. I'm going to be interviewing, because during the winter here in Kansas City, I won't be having as much golf
Can't
footage.
play much golf.
Unless I travel, which I plan to.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to meet some other golf YouTube vloggers in the warmer states.
Yeah. Go south.
South or over to California. My uncle lives there. But anyway, I'm going to interview the head of our PTS peer support group. Nice. So she's going to talk about the starting of it and the future of it. As well as I'm going to interview, and I never thought of this through this whole process, is I put one of my real PTS talks out on Facebook, and I've had, to backstep, one of the first ones I put out, I've had retired firefighters that I know, hey, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
One of them say, this is why I retired, is because of the stresses. And so anyway, I had a female reach out to me. Her husband was a firefighter, and he is now a doctor.
Okay.
And I've never thought about, so I'm going to interview her about what they're trying to do. They're going to start setting up a stress clinic or something like that. But I'm going to interview her and some other female firefighters and talk about the female side of the stresses of a male-dominant profession.
Yeah.
And get their perspective.
Absolutely.
So I got a lot of things in the works this winter, at least, that I'm excited about with trying to help people understand. Yeah, I'm using golf to come play, and you can decompress.
Right.
And I'm not really about trying to get people help, you know what I mean? Like, here's who you go seek help with for this clinical psychologist.
Yeah.
Maybe this will grow into that as I get more educated on it.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go through our peer support program too and learn that side of it as well. The Center of Excellence is what it's called. It's in D.C. It's what our International Association of Firefighters, our main union, deals with them for mental health and well-being, whether it's mental or the physical injuries we take. COVID's kind of ruined that, or I had already visited their campus.
Yeah.
Moving forward, I'm having a golf tournament on August 9th at Dubs Dread to try to raise money for my peer support group. Probably War Horses for Veterans.
Yeah.
They're so nice out there that's like, no, we want to help you.
Yeah.
But I want to give them money.
You want to help them
for the first responder side, because they bring first responders in. My crew and me have already been out there, and it was just nice to learn how to control a horse.
Yeah.
And here's the good thing about them is they try to use the personalities of my crew we took this personality test. And so now I understand how each one of my crew thinks. And it's easier to deal with them.
Yeah.
Because the horses they had us work with, they have personalities. And you had to know how they were going to react, because you couldn't react the opposite.
Yeah.
Or it wouldn't work.
Right.
You had to understand to work that horse. So
That's fascinating.
That's what they're doing out there. They're just trying to use the horsemanship program part of it to just go out there and decompress, just like golf. Another friend of mine that I've met through them, his name is Rob Sanderson. He started the Swell mission, which is surfing.
Oh, wow.
He takes people to California to surf and decompress. So me moving forward, having all these connections and friends, meeting someone like yourself and getting any advice, but part of that PGA of America and also my Firefighter Golf mission is, if, God forbid, a firefighter dies across the country, which happens over 100 times a year, I'll reach out to, as this grows, to these chiefs and say, is there anybody that was close to that person that passed away that plays golf?
Yeah.
Give me the connection. If it's warm, I'll say, yeah, I'm going to fly them to Kansas City. We'll play golf here in Kansas City for a couple of days. Or if it's cold, let's go to Phoenix.
There. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's all covered under the donations that I hope will be coming in.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So there's my plan besides the clinics,
the
outings. I want to have like that mission of helping these people decompress, better, I should say, and that's what he does. That's what you remember, the Overland Park police officer was killed a couple months back. Yes. Well, he took 3 of his closest comrades to surf.
Holy cow.
And that's kind of the mission moving forward too, once it gets growing and donations start coming in. And once I get that IRS approval, I'm going to make a website where donation could come in, and with the help of PGA of America, let's grow this thing nationwide.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, whatever we can do to help too. I mean, when that website's ready to go, we'll blast it out there for you too and get it across. That's incredible. You don't think about at least I didn't, it's not just, it's beyond. It's like what you just said of if a firefighter dies or something like that, the people around them.
Or police officer,
anybody. Yeah. First responder is probably
a
better way to say it, is of what that does to the people around them, and I think that's really, we've had, I experienced a coworker that passed away at work. And I was not there the day it happened, but they brought in a lot of people to make sure that everyone was okay to talk about it, and I think that's what you're doing is it's okay. You need to mourn. You need to go through the emotions. When you suppress the emotions, that's when you get into, to me,
I agree,
you get into a dangerous territory of go ahead and get it out there, talk about it. So I don't know how that happens, but I feel like that's where I see, like what you just said, the guys taking them surfing, you're going to take them golfing, you're going to talk about anything and everything to get them to understand that it's okay, it's normal, what they're going through, and get it out.
And even if they don't want to talk about it.
If they don't, you don't have to.
Use the game of golf to decompress, to disarm what's going on stress-wise.
Yeah.
And they know hopefully what I'm about, and if they want to talk about it, I'll be real with them.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's not about. It is about having a conversation, but it's when it's right to have the conversation.
Right.
When they're right to have the conversation.
Right.
That's a better way of saying it. Talk about the GM golf shoot a little bit of what that experience was like, and I know we've talked about that it gained you a bunch of following on YouTube and stuff like that. But what was the overall experience like? You swung in your uniform or what are they called? What I'm not using
bunker gear.
Yeah, bunker gear. Yeah.
So, like, I've been in contact with his dad. His dad, Garrett from GM Golf, and his friends who were part of the Good crew.
Yep.
They were back in town in Kansas City because that's where they're from. They live down in Dallas now, and what they got going down there is amazing now. So good for them. I was able, luckily, to get approval from the fire chief to use the fire truck in the video. And then I gathered up bunker gear that I felt would fit these guys. Garrett's 6'1", so I had to find someone that had similar height as him. We didn't use the bunker boots because I didn't want to tear the grass up.
Yeah.
Because I got a lot of grip on them on the bottom. And so we just played in our tennis shoes, the bunker pants, coat, and the helmet.
Yeah.
And
was that you yelling at them at the beginning of it when they were trying to put the bunker gear on, and it looked like you were timing them?
they were just doing what we would do if we're
Okay.
getting ready to get
Yeah.
into the fire trucks with a fire.
I just heard somebody go, go.
I can't remember. It might have been Matt.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was a neat experience because you know what it's like when you like say take someone for the first time to Las Vegas or something, to example, and it's fun to see their face.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like when they were putting on the bunker gear, sitting in the fire truck. We drove around down the street, had the sirens on for the introduction part of the video, pulling back into the parking lot just to see their faces, experience, you know, small tidbit of what I go through.
And probably they felt like kids again. I mean, that's what I would think. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm on a fire truck. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah. And then just if you've seen the video, you see how they talk about it and how it's just one of the coolest things they've ever done, they said. And just, you know, it's funny that, I don't know if you noticed it's my old helmet when I was a back end firefighter and a driver.
Okay.
The shield fell off.
Yes.
And I gave it to him to
They're gonna put it in the house.
Good.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those perfect moments of, it was like it was all came together for a reason.
Yeah.
And, you know, Kansas City, Kansas boys, most of them, Garrett and Steven are.
Yeah.
And Steven Castaneda, part of that, his cousin is Mike Young, who's on the Kansas City, Kansas Fire Department.
Holy cow.
I worked with Pat Young, lovely man, great captain of mine years past. It's his nephew.
Holy cow.
So it's just a small world.
Yeah.
You and I knowing Drew.
Yeah. Well, it's like this is meant to be.
It's like all this coming
together.
together.
Keep going. Yeah.
And it's as stressful as it is to try to keep a family life going and then keep this mission going and balance all that. Like you said, I know it's got to keep going. Yeah. Because one, it helps heal me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's your coping mechanism.
It's my coping mechanism to help others. We talked earlier how I was a big brother, big sister for a few years, and that brought me joy to bring joy to a young man. So that's kind of why coaching is that as well now. Yeah. Is try to grow the game of golf with these kids. It's something they can play for life. Yeah. So I try not to make cuts on the golf team.
It's commendable.
It's, you know, if the numbers allow, then
I could only go back to K-State and they wouldn't make cuts. Yeah. It'd be great. Well, why weren't you the coach at K-State when I tried to walk on?
I might have been a little tougher then because that was college. You should have been.
That's hilarious.
But no, we're going to have to get out and play one
I know.
day
I was going to say we need to do that. We should do a match.
For the channel.
Yes, exactly. I think we should do that for sure. That'd be great. You're going to win. I will tell you that.
Well, we'll see. I mean, you'll probably go work on your game before.
I will. You're right. Yeah. So. No.
But I'll keep working on mine. But
hey, it'll be fun. We can spread it on our YouTube channel and your YouTube channel and get it out there. I mean, that'll be great. I would love to do that.
Definitely. So it's funny. When I have my tournament on August 9th, I'm going to auction off a chance for someone to be on the channel.
Ooh, I like it.
So that's a way to raise some more money.
Yeah.
And you know, I might do several people if they want to do it.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. It might be so popular that they have to, or you have to.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you've seen videos at fire stations across the country or just on YouTube, scaring people at fire stations. That's something I'm known for. So on one of the golf holes, par 3, it'll be a little gambling hole. Okay. And I'm going to have air horns.
Yes.
And right in the middle of their backswing, your buddies that you're playing with can, but you know, if you get it within the circle, you get double your money.
See, here's the trick to that. If people who play in this tournament is the expectation of the air horn is going to go off, so don't do it.
You're funny. I thought of that too.
Yeah.
And then another par 3, I'm going to try to have some bunker gear for people to try on and do that.
That'll be great.
And so try to have fun. Yeah. Because I don't know how many of these golf tournaments you've been to. They have all these other fundraiser things on them. Yeah. It's like, I didn't bring that much money with me.
Yeah, exactly. For $20, you can go to the 100-yard marker. And
right.
I love it. I totally get it. It's about raising money. But,
I agree.
But here's to all the people tournament directors out there and stuff like that. Think about how many times you're asking for money throughout a round.
Right.
That's the only thing that I say is like, you got the mulligans when you show up to the event. You get out to some of your holes, and immediately you're saying, "Oh, for another $20, you can do this." It's great. I get the cause.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm 100% supportive of it. But all I'm saying is, think about how many times you're asking somebody for money over the course of 4 or 5 hours.
I agree. Yeah. So mine's going to be more truer golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do mulligans because people like those.
Yes, absolutely. That's why they do scrambles. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not going to be drop your ball at 150 yards from the Bubba Watson drive.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I mentioned the fun things on the par 3s, but I'm trying to let people see what it's like to be in the fire service type of thing and have some fun.
Expose them.
Expose them to wearing the bunker gear. So back to the GM Golf.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed, and I say it in their videos, that I didn't think of the idea beforehand for my own channel.
Okay, I was wondering, yes.
But I'm going to do it here.
Okay.
I've talked to my buddies that I play with all the time, and we're going to do it.
Yeah,
for a
well,
video.
you got the perfect, conditions now
Exactly.
for it, because, I mean, I can't imagine doing it in the middle of the summer.
Right.
It's so hot. It's 50 pounds, right?
With the boots on, it probably would be 50 pounds.
Okay, all right.
But I'd say I should weigh myself, because I brought my gear home with me, because I'm probably getting overtime tomorrow as well again.
Yeah.
And I need to weigh myself to
Yeah.
see. But it feels like it's about 50 pounds.
So there's the beginning of the video, is the weight.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is definitely like, okay, guys, I'm jumping on the scale. I have to divulge my true weight, and then you have to. That'd be great. That's hilarious.
I found my producer.
Was it hard to swing?
It was. The coat restricted your backswing, or you
Okay.
felt like it did. So you know how that is mentally in the game
Yeah.
of golf.
Oh yeah.
The reel and feel are different.
Yeah.
And I think on my approach shot on number 3, I just told myself to go ahead and swing, and I hit a good one.
Okay.
I didn't.
Yeah, 3's the
I got
one across the
hands through.
creek. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
So it.
I thought you guys were gonna win. I did. I thought you and Steven, sorry.
The Stevie Wonder twins?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stevie. Yeah, I thought you guys were gonna win, and then they birdied 2.
The Garrett birdie 2.
Yeah.
And then we just couldn't get one back after that. So
yeah, it looked like fun though. I mean, it was a great video.
it was a great video.
Yeah.
You know, we chose doing it later like that because the lighting's better.
Yeah, way better.
And
Yeah.
so. Yeah, it was a neat experience with those young men, and I hope they could be on one of their videos again.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Matt Scharf, his channel, he does a Fan Friday.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to him, hey, have me on for one of those.
Yeah.
And, just, again, it's about getting exposed. People that love him see me again, and I can spread the mission.
Yeah.
And I don't care about making the money. The money's going back.
Billy,
I spent probably, I didn't really want to completely talk about this, but I spent thousands of dollars on this on my own.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's about healing myself.
Yeah.
So it's an investment in myself.
Absolutely.
To help others. But obviously any money I'd make from YouTube, separate from the donation side of First Responder Golf, because that goes to that. I'm going to donate to First Responder Golf.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy myself new camera equipment and editing computers.
You're going to use it to get better at
the
getting,
videography.
Yeah. And getting it out there.
Yes.
And that's, we're all in that struggle. I do this for my own, my wife and I are investing in the time as one of it, and producing all this video and podcasts and stuff like that. And, that's what we say is like the money goes back into generating more content to spread the awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're saying is if you do make a little bit of money, you're going to put it back into it to getting the word out there further, or it's going to go for you to travel other places and start spreading the word. I mean, to me, like, you'll probably be able to start talking at places if you speak at different areas and stuff like that.
I've gotten better at it.
Yeah.
Speaking at least, especially with the videoing has helped me.
Yeah.
But I still have my nervous tics, I notice on
hard.
camera. But so on that note, if the money is coming in because people flock to my channel eventually,
they will,
and like the mission and stay following it and watching, it's going to go back into buying, like I said, new equipment. So when I go to Band and Dunes, that will be a course that I need to showcase.
Yeah.
Because people search Band and Dunes, and that will come up and will give me a lot of the mission.
Yeah.
Will be there to spread if it hasn't by next July.
No. But when we see the new clubs in your bag, that's when we're going to start going, wait a second.
Well, that's my coaching money. It gets me. And luckily right now, plug to PXG, they give, good discount to first responders.
Nice.
So,
okay.
And military. But anyway, I'm probably going to pay a videographer to come out there with me.
You should.
So I can
awesome.
just enjoy the round of golf.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy filming it. But I don't want to carry around a tripod.
No.
Because it's walking only golf course.
And that is hard. Like I try to do this on, I'm not making it, about me. It's not, but it's hard to do that. It's hard to play a round of golf and then try to produce content at the same time. Like you're saying, like I was watching the WinStar video that you put together.
Yeah.
And I was like, the first thing I noticed was, oh wow, he's doing this all on his own.
Yeah.
And that
luckily the guy I played with helped me every now and then.
Yeah.
But,
and so, I mean, that's crazy though. It's hard. So
well, back to the Paynes Valley. That was one of the hardest ones. It was hot, 92 degrees, even in the morning when I played, humidity. It was cart path only.
Oh gosh.
And so I'm carrying golf clubs under one arm, both cameras on a tripod underneath the other.
Yeah.
And it was stressful, but at the same time,
I was just going to say, yeah.
when I sit and edit it, I laugh at some of the things I say or the goofy faces, and it ends up being a coping mechanism.
I was just going to, that's actually what I was going to ask was, it seems like you're putting more stress into some of this stuff.
Well, I talk about that in the Ozarks National course.
Okay. I haven't watched that one yet.
I talk about, here I am trying to do this. This is a stressful game, carry all this equipment. I guess I should have took up knitting.
Yeah.
And try to do a YouTube channel on that. But
yeah.
And there's a funny, all in that segment, in those clips, there's a funny part where I'm afraid of snakes.
Yeah.
And there's grass clippings on the ground that look like snake, and I about dropped all the cami equipment, but I talk about it. I don't, it's so I take.
I'm glad you can laugh at yourself and that's where, it took it for doing the podcast for me. When I first started doing it, a lot of my friends were like, wow, it takes a lot to put yourself out there.
Right.
A risk, they're like, wow, it takes a lot of effort to put yourself out there and stuff like that. But you're right. It does. It actually helps. I have become more confident with it,
right.
And it's not with talking on the podcast. It's just in life, more confident to try new things, establish new ideas, and just put myself out there. And one of the things, that I want to do with the podcast is create more video content next year. And I mean, that's on our goals as a podcast is to, follow in the footsteps of some of these no laying up, foreplay podcasts and stuff like that.
I like their stuff too.
They're great. They put a lot of time and effort into developing this content, but you need resources. To your point, you need to have people who can help you with this stuff. To go out there and do it by yourself you're not going to be able to. Just like the GM Golf, Good Golf, the firefighter video that you guys did. I don't know how many people are out there, but I know
he had 2 videographers with him.
Yeah,
so
in a drone, someone running a drone and taking all those pictures and stuff like that. I mean, it's for you, to Steve, to do that by yourself. It's commendable, and what you've done in a short period of time from January to now. I mean, just keep going, man. I can't.
I never would have thought it would grow into something that it possibly could grow into.
Right.
Someone reaching out to me that's part of the PG of America. And then, my background in the game, working in a golf shop. Mm-hmm. And so understanding that side of the business, he's busy at Kansas City Country Club. And because it's a different animal at a country club than it is at a public course.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing, the outreach, doing something like this with someone like yourself who's played the game, tried to get on college and no, I'm excited moving forward with where it's going. So with a little bit of trepidation too, you know what I mean? It's just part of it.
Yeah. We got to think through it. I think you're doing a great job with it. I think the matches, I'm in. Whenever you want to do it, let's do it.
Yeah. We get Drew out there with us too, because he's come out and played with me once. I didn't get him on video for I think I got him on Instagram, but not
who can we? Let's see. Who else could we invite?
So the hard part about filming, 2 people's hard to film.
Yeah, yeah.
I did 3 one time, and that was fun to put together at the end. But the Shot Tracer app, now that I use that, on my phone,
I saw that. Yeah,
man, it takes a while to get all that situated because you got to remember where the shots went if it doesn't pick them up.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot into that, and then transferring off my phone into the computer. And so
how are you storing all these videos?
I have a side it called external hard drive.
Yeah. Wow. So, how many terabytes is it?
It's 2, so it's not even halfway filled yet. It's probably only 1/3.
Holy cow.
So, but I don't know. I researched it all on YouTube to get started. Watched a bunch. Like I said at the beginning of this, I was watching a bunch of YouTube vloggers and lesson stuff, trying to get an idea. Is this something I really want to do?
Yeah.
And I knew I needed to do something different than just a normal golf vlog. For me.
Yeah. And
then, as you know, we've talked about it. Went into I'm going to do this for me and for others. And it just it's going to take time. Marathon. Yeah. And I appreciate you having me on.
Of course, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on. So,
and we'll have to do it again. And besides playing and getting you on the channel, I'd love to come back once things progress with, and we can talk about what the future is and then what it still will be. So,
we'll send us out with how they can get in contact with you again.
So, my email for one is kckfire8@gmail.com.
Okay.
You can also reach out to me on Instagram like we did through direct messages. So that's how a lot
He
of
will respond.
Yes, I will. And even if you want to make a comment on one of my videos on the YouTube channel, I respond to it. And then I end up telling those people, hey, contact me through Instagram.
Yeah.
And or I'll give them my email address once they do that, or the phone number. So I got a lot of things in the works. I'm going to be playing with that Fayetteville area firefighter. We're going to try to get a video out with him. He might come to Bandon Dunes with us.
Woo.
And then I keep trying to invite people like yourself to come, because
I can't commit right now, but it is on the radar.
Well,
I'll tell you that.
Talk to the wife, and I think it's just going to be a special place, and just to hang out and decompress, and hopefully I can get even more and more firefighters to come with us out there besides my KCK guys, and it just grows into something special with that, as well as everything moving forward with the Instagram and YouTube. So
that's awesome. Well, thanks.
And thank you. I had fun.
Yeah.